From the beginning, I've said that I would continue on as long as there was a viable path to victory. Tonight, I'm sorry to say, it appears that path has been foreclosed. Together, we left it all on the field in Indiana. We gave it everything we've got. But the voters chose another path. And so, with a heavy heart, but with boundless optimism for the long-term future of our nation, we are suspending our campaign. But hear me now, I am not suspending our fight for liberty. I am not suspending our fight to defend the Constitution, to defend the Judeo-Christian values that built America. Our movement will continue. And I give you my word that I will continue this fight with all of my strength and all of my ability.
Ted Cruz, you just heard him, suspend his campaign on the basis of what transpired tonight in Indiana. Initially, with his running mate, Carly Fiorina, issuing two words, "fight on," the impression was that the campaign would continue on into California. But soon, both with the facial expressions of Heidi Cruz and then the longer-term historic dimensions, Ted Cruz suspended his campaign tonight. And now only two remain: frontrunner Donald Trump and Ohio Governor John Kasich, who has been victorious in exactly one state, his home state of Ohio. Let's continue to talk about this as Julio Rivera, a great supporter of Ted Cruz, is at Newsmax, New York, and Roger Stone, former political advisor to Donald Trump, longtime Republican advisor, is joining us from Florida. Julio, first to you, your reaction hearing your candidate suspend his campaign tonight.
Well, I was willing to fight to the end with him. It's very sad. It's been a lot of, the last year of my life has been wrapped up in, trying to help the campaign in any way that I could. I think he's a great man. I think he went to D.C. With a stacked deck against him. He fought against, Harry Reid when he was the majority leader. Same with Mitch McConnell. He's always tried to strive for transparency, between what was actually going on in the Senate and a lot of, the little trickery and a lot of the political theater that people that are just watching from home may not understand. He brought a lot of that to light. I'm very sad to see him go in the actual race. We do have a country to save. Right now, I kind of have to digest it because.
And I'll let you continue to digest it. We appreciate you being here tonight, Julio. Let me turn to Roger Stone very quickly. Now, will we see magnanimity when the guy you used to advise, the frontrunner, Mr. Trump, emerges here in about 15 minutes, Roger?
Well, I hope so. Look, I salute Ted Cruz for having the courage to get in the arena. Because as Theodore Roosevelt said and Richard Nixon often repeated, the credit belongs to the man who gets in the arena and actually fights, not the guy who stands on the sideline and points out where the strong man could have done better. But I think that we can sum up the reason why the Republican Party is going to unite and why we're going to have a great victory. Hillary Clinton, that's why, because that is the alternative. And that is essentially 4 more years of Barack Obama and the failed policies that have brought this country to its knees. So I am confident that Donald Trump will be the nominee, that he would have won California anyway, in my opinion. But I think now the prospect of victory over John Kasich is clear. I would call on Governor Kasich to throw in the towel so we can get on with the business of providing and presenting a united front against the party of Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama.
Roger Stone tonight from South Florida. Roger, we appreciate your assessment, your analysis, and for being with us as the news broke that Ted Cruz announces the suspension of his campaign. Roger made mention of California. That is where our next guest joins us, Michael Reagan, who we cited with a tweet earlier. Michael, we appreciate your time tonight. If we could put back up the tweet that you put out saying that the party of Reagan is now the party of Trump. Good luck. I believe here it is. The Republican Party is no longer the party of Reagan. It is now the party of Trump. Good luck. Is Michael Reagan? Are you saying goodbye to the Republican Party tonight?
No, I'm just saying good luck to the Republican Party because Donald Trump has a lot of work to do between now and November. And that work is he's got to bring the party together. He's got to bring the Ted Cruz people in. He's got to bring all of those that he ran against. He's got to bring them all to the dance, if you will. And especially he's got to bring the women, the wives of those who ran against him to the table, along with the wives of many Republicans out there whose husbands may be voting for Donald Trump in November, but the wives may stay home.
It's interesting as we speculate about who may show up to vote and who may not, as we look at the other side of the aisle tonight, and I haven't seen the latest numbers for Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton, but it looks again as if Bernie Sanders continues to surprise and be a major thorn in the side of Mrs. Clinton. And indeed, with over half of the precincts reporting tonight in Indiana, Bernie Sanders maintains a 53-47 lead. Now, Roger Stone, with your knowledge of political history, let me ask you, as Michael Reagan pointed out, perhaps what could be a gender gap to a certain degree for Donald Trump, what about an economic gap, a demographic gap for Hillary Clinton? Is it possible, given what goes on with Bernie Sanders, that if the superdelegates stay with Mrs. Clinton and Bernie is denied, a whole lot of activists from the progressive realm with Bernie Sanders would stay home in November?
You know, JD, I think a number of Bernie Sanders voters, not his hard left voters, but his blue-collar voters who realize that the NAFTA and TPP globalist trade deals foisted on us by the Bushes and the Clintons have been an ignominious failure for this country and have destroyed our job market. I think those voters become available to us. I heard from a progressive activist today in New York, Randy Credico, who told me that he was starting Sanders supporters for Trump. As far as the women's vote is concerned, as you know, I've written a book on this, The Clintons' War on Women. When women voters learn about how Hillary has bullied and intimidated Bill Clinton's various sexual assault victims, I don't think there's going to be a lot of sympathy for Hillary Clinton. The idea that she's been an advocate for women is completely bogus.
Gotcha. Okay, let's do this. Let's turn back to our phones. Before we do, though, I really want to thank Julio Rivera coming into Newsmax New York tonight on what is understandably a frustrating, disappointing evening for you. Julio, we will have you back in the days to come. We thank you for your insights tonight during our coverage. And now let me turn back to the telephones. I understand from Grand Rapids, Michigan, if I recall, the home of Gerald R. Ford. Roger is on the phone, and I guess this is a Roger to Roger call. Roger in Grand Rapids, you have a point you want to make to Roger Stone, who is joining us from Florida. Go ahead, sir.
Well, thank you very much, JD. Actually, I had 2 points. I want to make one to Roger and one to Julio because I really respect both of them. And actually, don't tell Steve, but JD, I kind of like you a little bit better.
Well, bless you. I appreciate that.
To the point.
Go ahead, sir.
Yes, sir. Roger, we all know when Trump first announced his candidacy on June 16th, his favorabilities 1 week later on the 26th and 23rd, whenever it was, that CBS poll came out, he was right up there around 80% unfavorable. And then by August, it was at 65% unfavorable. And now it's at basically 35%, according to
We're having a little trouble with the phone signal, Roger.
Okay,
but I hear what you're saying. Go ahead. You're saying, in other words, the unfavorability.
According to.
Yep. Go ahead.
Yeah. Anyways, his favorability is now among nationally is right at 65%. Favorable. Now that's across demographic boards, Hispanic.
I see what you're saying, and I'm sorry we're having a little trouble hearing you, Roger, but I think the message is coming through. So let me turn to Roger Stone. We talk about unfavorability ratings, but there's something else at work here, is there not, Roger? And that is intensity in terms of those supporting Donald Trump. And as you see the increase in voter intensity, are we seeing the unfavorables whittled down when it comes to the voters' assessment of Mr. Trump?
Look, I think that Trump does have intensity going for him. Michael Reagan is right. He has a lot of work to do. He's been through a bruising contest with multiple candidates. And at the same time, Bernie Sanders has not attacked Hillary in her areas of greatest vulnerability. Her real record on women, her disastrous record as Secretary of State, and the epic corruption of the Clinton Foundation. So I think that her unfavorable ratings, which were once just as high in this country as Donald Trump's, are slightly recessed. The thing to remember about polling is that it is a snapshot in time. These numbers are not locked in cement, and they're going to change. Trump has enormous work to do, but frankly, once Hillary Clinton is under attack, I think you will find that her unfavorable ratings and Trump's will be in the same range. By the way, Ronald Reagan, who I, of course, revere, great to be here with my old friend Michael Reagan, his unfavorable ratings after a bruising nomination were also high, and they dropped as he began to show the real Reagan, not the mainstream media interpreted Reagan, but the real Reagan.
Which is why the Trump speech in just a few minutes we expect at 9 o'clock Eastern is so important, Roger Stone and Mike Reagan. We want to make room for a gentleman joining us from Indianapolis, on the ground and a voter in Indiana, as it were, former spokesman for President George W. Bush, Pete Seat, who is with us tonight. Pete, the scene in Indiana, now with Cruz suspending his campaign. Are you and others prepared to join with the front runner in a unified effort, or do you think there will still be holdouts for John Kasich, Pete?
Well, I think a lot of people right now are having an internal debate, and that is it better for the Republican Party to support Donald Trump or better for the Republican Party to oppose him in a general election? And that's a decision a lot of people across this country are going to be thinking about over the course of the next several weeks and several months. You mentioned John Kasich still in the race. I have made it a firm vow to no longer predict what's going to happen in this election cycle. So I'm not going to call Donald Trump the presumptive nominee, because anything can happen in the next week or two, and we could find ourselves back in a contested convention scenario that we found ourselves in just a few weeks ago.
Well, and you make mention of this, and it's worth noting, Michael Reagan, it seems again that the division in the Republican Party, you have the populists and the grassroots in terms of the presidential campaign, and then you have the Capitol Hill Republicans, some of them still expressing concerns that Pete was kind of making mention of, oh, gee, what happens to the rest of the ticket? Michael Reagan, do you think this can be reconciled? We've got about a couple of minutes remaining in this portion of the program.
JD, it's going to have to be reconciled, but this is what those in Congress always worry about, what's going to happen to the rest of the ticket. They're always worried about their own rear ends, more so than anything else. So, yeah, that's going to be an issue. What's Donald Trump going to do? Is he going to try and bring everybody on board? Will they come on board? And what kind of a speech is he going to give tonight that's going to embrace the Republican Party to move forward in November? Because unless it's together, Donald Trump is going to just go back to the Trump Towers in November and say, it was fun, guys.
All right, we'll see what happens there. Let's go back to the phones. A minute 30 remains in this segment. Out to Salem, Oregon for Catherine. Hi, Catherine.
Oh, hello.
Good to have you.
Thank you. I've been trying since 3 o'clock.
Well, bless you. You're here now, so make it count. We've got a minute.
I am delighted with Donald Trump. I think he's the only one that has the answers. I think he's the only one with the smarts, the intelligence and the experience. And I'm really rooting for him. And I wanted to say that Cruz should drop out, but I kept getting cut off. So I kind of hung in there.
Well, you
I
did
just
hang in there.
wanted-
Your persistence has prevailed, and we appreciate what you have to say, Catherine. Calling in from 3 this afternoon out west, so since 6 o'clock East Coast time, your perseverance was rewarded. We hear what you had to say, and we thank you for it. And again, your voice is heard here on Newsmax TV. Our thanks to Pete Seat in Indianapolis, to Michael Reagan in Southern California, and to Roger Stone in South Florida, as tonight the news is made. Donald Trump wins the Indiana primary. Ted Cruz suspends his campaign, and as Pete Seat mentioned, there's going to have to be a lot of soul searching on the part of a whole lot of Republicans, as Michael Reagan and Roger Stone mentioned. There has to be a chance to unify the party. We're expecting Donald Trump to speak shortly. Dennis Michael Lynch coming later. For now, stay brave, stay free, stay tuned as our coverage continues.